this country just like needs to get away from that whole left and right thing.
God, it would be amazing if we could, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and because we're like pretty much like one of the last countries that like has that really diehard like you're this or you're that, and it's really not that way anymore. And as we've seen, especially like through the last election cycle with all, you know, even on the Democratic Party side, like the spectrum of people, like there are a lot of people that were like diehard Bernie supporters and would be considered a lot further left leaning that are really not supportive of Joe Biden, even though he is a Democrat, but he is definitely a more centrist Democrat. And that's why you have, you know, people like John Kasich and like other Republicans that are more centrist leaning coming over from this side to support him when Trump is way more far right than they are, you know? And so you're kind of seeing that this spectrum that's supposed to just be left and right. I'm doing hand gestures here and people who are listening can't obviously see them, but you know, it's not left and right. It's not black and white. There's people along this whole spectrum that have very different beliefs and fall into very different places that it just on a general level sucks to be put in that box of just like, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, and that's how it is. You know, so that's like a whole total redoing of a system and having to kind of rethink the way that we operate and the way our government functions. But yeah, third parties have never been successful.
Oh, no.
In the United States. And, you know.
Probably never will be.
And probably at this point, it looks like at least never will be. And, you know, we saw last election cycle, there's going to be a fracture. The Democrats are going to split. The Republicans are going to split. But it still doesn't happen, you know, so.
If ever there was a time where a third-party person could win, if people actually rallied behind her, it would be with Jo Jorgensen right now. And I don't even know any of her plans. I've heard that she's more moderate, that she fits more in the middle than either of the candidates that we have. But
Yeah.
you have people that hate Trump vehemently and would rather have Biden up there, and then you have people that are like, Biden's not even there mentally, how is he going to lead the country, and would rather have Trump. And I think if a majority of people sat down...
They think Biden's not there mentally, but they think Trump's there mentally? Interesting.
Right?
No.
Well, Biden's definitely slipping.
Trump is too.
Well, yeah, Trump's Trump. I wouldn't be surprised if Trump's hopped up on something and they just got him going.
Yeah.
But the left-right thing is weird. And it's really weird because most people, if you actually sat down and talked with them, would fall more in the middle. But then you have these fringe groups that are dangerous.
Well, and there are people that are like so one issue too. Like there are people that probably you would consider a Democrat, but they're so like pro-life that they will always vote for a Republican. You're that much about one single issue that you can't, you know, take the whole, you know, global spectrum into your mind. And honestly, like, yeah, the two-party thing was never really like the way that I feel like, you know, the founding fathers intended. If you read really powerful speech, always recommended to everybody, George Washington's farewell address, he specifically says, like, avoid infighting of our government. Avoid having two sides oppose each other, basically, is what he said. He warned against this two-party system, and he knew it was going to happen because people like, you know, in his early cabinet, Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson, I'm a huge Hamilton fan, so we can get to that, but, you know, fighting against each other and just totally disagreeing about things about, you know, especially that federal versus state power, which exists all the way back to, you know, the foundation of our government. And George Washington warned against it. And, you know, after he went out of office, it immediately took hold. And, you know, you can look at through history after that there was pretty much always two main parties that were in control, whether they, you know, some of them went out of fashion and other ones came up, but still there's always been two parties. And it's just... There's more than two sides to the way that our government works. I'd like to think that it's more complex than just Democrat and Republican, but
well, and how sad is it how much power these two sides have that they can just be like, these are your options and there's nothing else. Like this, you're going to take what we're going to give you and you're either going to vote for us or you're going to vote for the enemy.
Well, and the unwillingness to work with each other too, especially now, like since Trump has been elected, I don't think like the amount of stuff that has been done by Congress in the last 4 years is
very minimal.
Very minimal. Like, yeah, sweeping legislation has not happened. Like, positive change in our country has not happened. It has maintained, like, not much has changed. Mm-hmm. And if not, it has gotten more repressive. So it's just, what are we going to do? And neither side is really willing to give anything up or compromise on it. So,
well, they can't. I mean, it's so polarized.
And they can't because it's so polarized. Exactly. Yeah. It's like we cannot give up our moral beliefs. We can't work with the Republicans or work with the Democrats. Yeah, and so it's so polarizing. And